And welcome back to Creation View. This is Captain. This is going to be episode 16, and in this episode, I'm going to go through the next 5 builds that were posted to my Discord. All right, so we have the Fighter M1. So we just have this one picture here. It's by Skelbton. So update now with radio. I don't have a mic. Test it. Takeoff. Flaps on. Throttle point 3. Starter. Wait for engine to catch. Make sure throttle is up first. So your engine should stay on with the throttle all the way back. I see this a lot with people. You need to set an idle. An engine should not die when you bring the throttle back. That means your idle is set incorrectly. This happens in real life sometimes, and they have to adjust the idle. You never want your engine to die when the throttle's all the way back. It should be set for an idle. Throttle to 1, enjoy. Turn flaps off when you raise the landing gear. Controls are pretty standard. Note sometimes you have to press 3 twice to close the hatch. She also has crosshair syndrome. She's hard to taxi around. I don't know what crosshair syndrome is. WS pitch, AD roll, left, right is yaw. Now with automatic flaps, not a big fan of automated gear and flaps and stuff. You know, a lot of this should, you as the operator of the machine want to be in control. Having it randomly do things, there's so many times when we had the autopilot on and we had to shut it off because it was doing something that we had no clue why it was doing what it was doing. It's always better to have control over your own vehicle. Base off the Focke-Wulf 190, very crude, though I'm still pretty bad at pretty much all the game. Based on my rough math, 60 kilometers of range. If it has 60 kilometers of range, it's not going to make it to Tajin. Tajin from the northernmost part of Sawyer Islands is like 90-something kilometers, so probably a little short of Tajin. Alright, so here is the M1. So let's do a walk around. So a nice shape to it, good size. Probably quite a bit bigger than the real one, but that's kind of be expected. Interesting chocks. It would be nice if the devs would prioritize trying to fix some of the sliding issues. I've upgripped the tires and it hasn't worked either, so I don't know what's up. Kind of a sawtoothy wing. I'm not a huge fan of that, but it's not bad. Probably rounding the tail would probably make it look a little bit better. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump in. So we have some chocks here, and we have a staircase. So let's go up the staircase. That's a nice little addition to make it easier to get in and out. Alright, so here's... Oh, fell off. Let's see if we can get in. There we go. Alright, so here we are with the M3. So let's go ahead and see if we can't get the start. So it says throttle point 3. Flaps on. Alright, so a little bit weird, but just to get started, the way the key works. Let's go ahead. I don't know if brakes are on or not. Let's press 1. Okay, so brakes start default off. Alright, so again, your engine should idle. I shouldn't have a dead engine every time I decrease my throttle. All you have to do is put the minimum value in the throttle to 0.3 if that's what you want it to be. But the engine should just not randomly die on me. Imagine that in real life. That would be horrific if that did that in real life. So I have to look over here at my throttle. Again, that would be nice if it was on the keyboard. Make it a lot easier to operate. Attitude, indicator, compass ball, radio frequency, speed, in miles an hour, temp, RPM, altitude, fuel. Let's go ahead and exterior here. So it looks like we have some flap added. Let's steer a little bit. Alright, steer's alright. So again, I have to kind of come over here to operate my throttle. So I can imagine when I'm trying to flare, the likelihood of crash is very high. Again, that should be on the keyboard. So this gauge here is not indexed, as you see. So a gauge is supposed to have the needle within the range of the gauge. So that gauge should be indexed. And we're already at 125 F. That's a little interesting. But you see the gauge is pointing straight down, so that gauge could use some indexing. Let's go ahead and try to take off. Alright, so we are up. So let's see. Alright, so it flies pretty well. So it looks like it has retractable landing gear, but I don't see anything anywhere to retract the landing gear. Let me check my weather really quick here. Let me get rid of some of these effects here. There we go. Starts a little foggy. Have a gun sight on there. There's cannons. It flies pretty well. It's pretty stable. I haven't pressed 6 the gyro. I'm not going to. You know, it flies nicely. Good handling characteristics. All right, so now this is within range. I would index that so it stays in there. You know, it's a little bit strange that that needle was pointing straight down. You want it to stay within the range, ideally. And I would put my units, units of fuel. I like to do that. Like, see, you have here, you have your units and miles per hour. It'd be nice to have it there as well, so you can kind of know. There's a big difference between gallons and liters. You know, gallons are 3.28 times what a liter is. So I know that if that's gallons, I can expect, you know, a lot more range. So again, my issue here is going to be, I'm going to leave the flaps on because we're going to go right in for takeoff. But my issue is I have to look over here for throttle. Where's my airspeed? All right, so let me see. This is ultra sensitive here. So I'm gonna try to figure this out. So I have to look over here for throttle, look over here for speed. So hopefully I can get this down to a reasonable approach speed here. Okay. So the problem is with my throttle way over here, it makes it very hard to control. Like I need to reduce throttle as I flare. Let's keep it around 100. See, it's super sensitive on the throttle. You know, you should be able to keep your speed within 1 knot of what you desire. You didn't give me an approach speed. Again, I recommend you give me an approach speed. You know, do some testing, give me an approach speed. Give me a rotation speed. These are all things you want in aviation. Like, my speed is wildly all over the place here, but it's flying stably. It's flying nicely. It's not bad. But again, you know, like I have to keep looking over here. My speed's over here, and then I have to look over here, back and forth, and then I should be looking out the window the whole time. And so that's not really great human factors. And then I want to chop the thrust, so I was able to put it on the runway. I would definitely put this throttle on, you know, I do with the up-down arrows, my preference. I should be able to look straight out there and then reference something. My speed is the most important. So I should be looking right here, and I should be able to reference my speed. So I would put the compass down here and speed up here. Speed's more important to me. This right here, radio, you know, so the hierarchy is aviate, navigate, communicate. Aviate, navigate, communicate. So the last thing is communicate. So I would put the radio down here. I would put it over here. I would put it anywhere but where it is. So I would do attitude here, airspeed here, compass. I would put compass here. That tends to be the traditional place for it. And I would move your starter somewhere else. You don't need it right here. But it flies well, you know. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good flying airplane. I would decrease the sensitivity of your throttle so I can actually get some, so I can maintain speed. I would make that again so you can control with, you know, my preference is the up-down arrows is what I like. But definitely attitude should be in the middle. Airspeed should be off the left here. Compass should be here, and then you can move your keypad somewhere else. That's the traditional way. Most airplanes have that configuration. And so you should be able to get in any airplane, have that. And the reason is I should be able to look outside, and I don't need my artificial horizon because I have a real horizon, you know, with the weather off. And I should be able to be coming in approach, referencing my speed, looking back. As you can see, I can very easily with my peripherals see straight out, look at my speed, and then use the keyboard to change the speed as I'm coming in. Because, you know, I had to quickly look over here and chop the throttle early and slam it down on the runway. So those are just some suggestions. All right, thanks for posting. All right, so we have the little duck. So we have just this one image here, and it is from Jay's Roadside. Please do not upload without my permission. This is my first successful plane. Put throttle to 0.45 for cruise, 9-cylinder 1x1. To fly it, please use gyro. Turn off gyro to land. Plane is still a work in progress. Thank you. Be safe and have a great time. All right, so here we are with the little duck. So let's go ahead and we'll jump on in. So a very thin wing to start with. I would put, personally, I would put I put a 1 block there and then 1x2s behind that, kind of give it a little bit more of a actual wing shape. I find it very strange that the propeller is in the water. You know, it's kind of a cartoony build, so I kind of get that. So, you know, I'm cool with cartoony builds, but I kind of have to suspend disbelief. Of course, you would destroy the propeller in the water like that. Curious you have a generator on the end of it there, but that's interesting. Um, Light's just kind of stuck on there. It'd be kind of nice to see that integrated a little bit more. A little bit of immersion braking, having the horizontal stab in the water like that. I would personally make a T-tail, get it up out of the water. You wouldn't want your control surfaces in the water like that. Padded seat, just kind of chilling on the roof here. So no instructions on the workshop page, so I kind of have to, pun intended, wing this. I don't know what this does. That's light, so I would label my button. I don't know if that's a self-destruct button or what. So that's the light. I would label that. AD is roll, WS pitch. Left, right is yaw. Up, down is collective. What do we have there? Space is gyro, and 1 is spots landing lights. Okay. Fuel, altimeter, generator, engine RPS, speed, engine temp. These are kind of non-standard. It's generally artificial horizon airspeed, altitude, compass. No compass in here, so that would be nice to see as well. Gyro light there. So let's go ahead and this says engine run. All right, so it's up and running here. Again, I would like to see the throttle on the keyboard. It makes it challenging for me to fly. I have to look over here. So see where my eyes are? Especially when I go to flare to land, my eyes are going to be here. I can't see anything. All right, so that's fine because in real life you'd have your hand on it and it would pull it. Well, that's why you put it on the seat. So it should be up, down, collective. You should set your pitch and then manage it with the throttle. I understand a lot of people don't have aviation experience, but you set so when you're coming into land, you set your prop pitch to the minimum prop pitch you want. So let's say I put the prop pitch, I have no readout for prop pitch. So I'm going to kind of set it where I think maybe it goes. Like maybe there, probably 20% maybe. And then I want to manage with throttle. So I should not be touching my prop when I'm landing. So your throttle should be on up down, frankly. Collective, collective would be fine on this throttle, and then put the actual throttle on up down would be better. So let's go ahead and see if we can't get a takeoff. Very strange to have the propeller in the water. That's very odd. I don't know what's up with that. But I kind of write it off as it's a cartoony build. So, nope. And I already hit the wrong button here. Again with collective on up down. So I have to look over here to do my throttle. All right, it's up by Stormworks, Miracles. So very loud engine. I don't know what your RPS is at. Where is your RPS? 45. Wow. Yeah, that's excessive. It sounds like a weed whacker because you have an excessive RPS. So really, human factors-wise, that throttle's going to be a problem for me. I'm going to come in to try to land here, and I should not be touching my propeller as I land. So my prop should stay set. This is super wiggly-woggly on flight. So see, I'm looking over here. I should be looking straight ahead, and I'm having to look over here to come into land. So when I do my final flare to land, I'm going to be completely blind here. So there's completely blind. So now I have to look. And the engine dies because your propeller's in the water. So the propeller has a lot of resistance against that water. So I kind of just write it off as a cartoony build, but it's definitely interesting. All right, and the next build is the 9K33 OSA ROAF SAM system. So we have some nice pictures here. This is a much better workshop page, much more completed here. So I said this before, I really like it when there's source material here that really kind of shows me the inspiration and what the changes you had to make compared to real life and kind of how you put it in the game, which is really cool. I like the paint job. Paint job looks really cool. The detailing looks really spot on. Like even the paint blocks for the ribs on the side panels there looks really cool. That's very cool. There's some cool pictures here. All right, very cool. So it's by Secret 176. All right, so it's the BAZ 5937 9K33 OSA SA-8 Gecko. Thanks for buying the blueprint for the OSA. This is a mobile SPAA that is amphibious and has 6 SARH depreciated radar guided rockets that don't care about chaff. It's kind of OP because the missiles are super accurate. If they get a proper lock on, it can reach 140 kph on land and about 60 kph in the water. It's a 1-to-1 recreation. Amphibious, 60 kph, do not stay still in the water. Okay. Drag racer, 120 kilometers in about 9 seconds. Climber, can climb mountains. Deadly targets under 3.5 kilometers or no more if you launch a rocket. Full to the brim, 6 rockets, 5 kilometer max range, but 3 km best operation range because the radar is fuel efficient, has enough fuel for about more than 2 hours. Fire prevention, automated equipment. New best SAM system, better than Cub systems due to more missiles and better performance. Manual. We'll go ahead and go through that when we get in. And there's history here if you'd like to read that. There's all the different versions, so that's very cool to include that. A lot of credits there. All right, good. So I'll go ahead and use the instructions in there. All right, so to start the walk around here, again, looks really, really good. The detailing is excellent on this. You know, the ability to put in the how you paint blocked in the structural ribs on there is really cool. Nice paint job, really well done with the camo. I love these. I love it when the creation is 1-to-1. That's really difficult and can be challenging in game, so it's nice to see. Cool that it's amphibious. Lots of good detailing on here. Really cool paint job as usual from Secret. Yeah, let's see. How does one get in here? Assuming that top hatch, so I'm just gonna no clip up on top, and we can look up there as well. It's a nice detailing here, like the panel rivets and panel seams. That's really cool there. Let's go ahead and jump in. Can I get in here and I have to kind of tweak around, but that's kind of expected on a 1-to-1 build. They're hard to get everything where they're supposed to be because, of course, you know, in game, you know, things are bigger than they are in real life. So let's go ahead to start up. So we have engine key. All right, optional. Turn off economic mode, turn on high-speed gear, turn on high RPM gear, turn on lights, lock turret to drive position. Okay, so water pumps, interior lights, heater, spots, exterior lights, economic, high-speed gear, set turret rotation drive mode. Okay. So that sets it to drive mode. That's cool, I like that. Alright, and let's see. What's that button? Turret locked, okay, that's good. Drives nicely. Has auto blinkers. So I would fix this p-value a little bit. I went over it. You've gone over this before. If you have if it's dancing like that, that's a p-value issue. You know, you could pretty easy fix to just tweak a p-value so that it's not doing that. But that's also rev limiter. If it's banging off the rev limiter, sometimes it does that. So you need multiple p-values. So just a suggestion on that. There's some gauges here. And because it's amphibious, we're going to go in the old drinky poo here. Alright, so it is... Colors are on. So it's stated in there, don't stay stationary. So, you know, it's kind of a game thing is, you know, buoyancy is an issue. And, you know, so once you get moving, it kind of comes up on plane. So not much you can do about that unless you glitched it out probably. You know, you have... Kind of has to be set up the way it has to be set up, so... But that's very cool that it's amphibious, and as long as it keeps moving, it's not breaking the immersion. So let's see. So I'm just trying to get back to land here, and we'll fire off a couple of these missiles. I don't have any targets out there, but we'll just kind of fire them randomly. You know, I'm sure they'll hit whatever they're supposed to be hitting. So it has the old depreciated radars on there. But, you know, good detailing there on like the radar. I like that with paint blocking on there. But again, the paint job is really good on this. And so let's see, what speed are we doing here? 30 kilometers an hour. So it has the there's turn off economic mode, and we get that higher speed. Still have bouncing off the rev limiter a little bit. But that's not a big deal. All right, I thought I had vehicle damage off. I didn't. All right, let's yank it back in the workbench. That was my fault there. Just doing that. So we'll take it back out and we'll launch it again. I don't know if there's a parking brake. I would like to see a parking brake. Right there, handbrake. Okay, good. And then let's see. Can I get in the back here to launch some missiles? Okay, so we have reset radar positions. Okay, so I left it where it was. Activate radars. So search radar, activate system electrics. Okay, there we go. So, active light, search radar, high altitude search radar is this one. Okay. We have up down is WS. Okay. I like how you did the radar. That looks really cool. Yep, the camera's kind of getting bugged out there. So this is jammed up. Don't know how to fix that. I would put a clamp in there so that it's not getting jammed up. Apparently, I went so far that it got jammed up, so probably putting a clamp in there would help with that. All right, let's see. Yeah, so that's all screwy right now. Infrared. Hold to reset radar position. Okay, so that fixed it. This reset there. Okay. Alright, so that fixed that. And then engine compartment hold. I don't know what that is. Pump maintenance. Okay, active screen. Alright, that looks like movement. Alright. Alright, so just see if I can't launch a missile. So the camera seems like it's sticky. So is the WS sticky on this? I don't know, because it's stuck again. Alright, so watch. If I go up with W, and I've let go of W already. So it looks like it's sticky. Yeah, the camera's sticky. See, like, I've already let go of S, and it's... So I think the rocket was coming back for us. I think it was reading us, and it was coming back. Here it comes. Is it going to try to come back and hit us? Let's see if it comes back for us. Up, here it comes. It's funny its behavior when it has no target. That's very interesting. Yeah, but it's very cool. I like this. It has some interesting features. But yeah, it's nice that it's amphibious. It's nice that it's can be go on the land and the water. I don't have any targets up to go test the missiles, but I'm sure they work well. Really nice design work on here. It's tough to get one-to-ones, Any sort of, like, climbing over seats and stuff doesn't bother me because it's, I like one-to-one builds, and it's very hard to get them one-to-one in-game just because the parts are kind of bloated. Really beautiful job, again, on the painting. Painting looks really good. I like that you included the rib lines on there. That really adds a lot of detail, but this is a really cool build, and I like it a lot. Right, and the next build is the Mongoose 8x8. So it's by Ludwig 30999. So I just have this one picture here. A simple 8x8 with very good range, right? A simple workshop page. 8x8, so let's take a walk around. Nice little details here and there. Glad you put the fogging of the XML glass on the outside. I've been reviewing a bunch of builds and using a bunch of people's stuff, especially with build challenges that have the XML edited windows. And if you put the fogging on the outside, it makes it much easier to operate the vehicle. So I appreciate that. Winch in and out. Equipment box. That's cool. Have a little equipment box in there. And then what's that? We have a mag all there for towing. Some more equipment up there. It's that pintle. Yep, that's the pintle release. Looks like some paintable indicators for lighting there. Some the same stuff on this side. Winch in the front. Let's see, where is my... How does one get in this contraption? That is the question. Again, no instructions on the workshop page, so I'm going to have to figure this on my own. So it looks like it toggles right there. All right, so we are in. Let's toggle it. Okay, so we have fogging on the inside too. I thought we'd be able to get no fogging, but we're fogged on either side, so it makes it a little hard to see. Yeah, again, I've talked about this before. I like the look of the XML windows, but it kills the functionality sometimes when it's fogged on the inside. I understand why people do it, but it's one of the reasons I don't do a lot of I don't do any real XML windows. It's just I like them to be native in game. That's something I think devs definitely know people want. It'd be nice if they had them. So space horn, 1 is reverse, 2 is parking brake. So let's hit parking brake. So all right, let's take it for a drive. Drives nicely. Yeah, the wheels kind of do that quick reset, but it seems like it's set up so that it has steering control. But, even a big truck, it's of course unrealistically fast, but, that's perfectly cool. And it behaves really nicely. It drives very well. Like at high speed, I get very little steer. As I slow down, I get more steer. Let me see what I can do for a turning circle here. Probably something like this, you'd definitely be 3-pointing this. Even with a trailer, you'd be 3-point. It doesn't look like it takes a trailer. It looks like it takes a module or a container. But the engine's not screaming at me. Going at good speed here. Going... Yeah, so that's about 60 miles an hour there. Winch controls, activated attachment, heater, lights, headlights, engine RPS. So it's pretty basic in here, but it's definitely, it drives beautifully. It drives really nicely. It looks nice, But yeah, definitely this is a cool vehicle, and I like it. The handling is really good. That's one of the things that the engine's not screaming at me. The handling is nice. I like that. So it's it's definitely it definitely operates well. So I could see this being really cool. It'd be nice to have like a hook lift version of this, and maybe a tractor version with a 5th wheel. But they're a really cool vehicle. I like this a lot. All right, so the next build is the Toblerone Steam Tank Engine Shunter. So I've seen this a bunch on the workshop and a bunch of different discords. Very cool looking, by Benzin. Kind of has Benzin's steampunky aesthetic. I like that. As usual, really cool paint job by Benzin. Benzin Industries Toblerone Steam Shunter User Manual. So this is really cool. I like seeing this kind of detailing. This is really cool. Kind of like an old-timey manual, 1927 to 41. Some black and white pictures. Designed in the 1920s, Toblerone Steam Shunter follows the latest Art Deco movement throughout its design and combines its aesthetics with utilitarian engineering. Being a tank engine, Toblerone can work in the yard independently without the need of a tender. Its valve throttle system, trademarked, provides an easily regulatable throttle response. So this is cool. I like how it's old-timey looking, really cool with everything detailed. Benzin does a good job with his workshop pages and really nice detailing on this. So request track switch, 100%, 70, 50, and 25% on the different steam valves. 6 is the whistle crank. Where is that? Must be up here. Yep, whistle crank. That's interesting to crank the whistle. I like that. It's kind of a neat feature. 7 is boiler pressure. Firebox temp. Boiler temp speedo, kilometers an hour, chamber pressure directly proportional with power output. 12 reverser lever. Just trying to see where everything is to help me right there. Forward ditch light switch, back ditch light, firebox lighter, crank firebox, and brakes. It should be BRAK, yes. But again, there could be language differences. We have all the lights in here. I won't go through those all. Push frequency, push to talk. First stage, second stage, third, and fourth stage valves. So Toblerone does not have a regular throttle lever. Instead, it utilizes a set of valves. Operator can open and close these valves to allow the desired amount of steam to the chamber. All valves are cumulative, meaning they stack up. So that's interesting. I like these sort of neat, as an equipment operator, I like these sort of neat design um, choices where you kind of something a little bit different. Everything gets stale if it's all the same, and so I kind of like having some different systems here. So again, they're stackable. So if we go back up, um, you have 25, 50, 75, and 100. So if you did just 5 be 25, you added 5 and 4, you'd have 75. Add that, it'd be 150, and then add that, it'll be 250. So kind of an interesting way. That's a really cool way to do it. I'd love to see that on a ship. That would be a really cool valving to keep, essentially to manage your speed. You give the person in the engine room something to do. So that's very cool. All right, so very cool. I like how they're stackable. All right, how to get going. To get moving, operator needs to light the firebox via the lighter crank. The regulator's boiler and firebox temperature regulator levers are set to 110 degrees and 200 degrees by default, and if desired can be increased. After the boiler reaches over 100 and built some pressure, operator can flip the first stage valve to get going. Sometimes the locomotive may need a kick to start rolling. If that is the case, operator should flip a second stage valve as well. Okay. After valve gets open, the chamber pressure dial will show the chamber pressure is increasing. After reaching above 0, the locomotive will start generating power and start moving. If more valves are open, the locomotive will generate more chamber pressure, thus more power and speed. So that's very cool. Seems like an actual vehicle, an actual engineered vehicle that would exist in the 1920s and 40s. There was a reason why these vehicles needed multiple operators and needed a lot of skill to operate. Was they were challenging, and I like that. It's one of the reasons I get bored if something's too automated. I like having to actually do some of the stuff myself. Operators should never open all the valves at the same time. Okay, good to know. But fourth, third, and second valves can be opened at the same time for maximum performance. Notice the locomotive will need more boiler pressure for more open valves. Right, pump out, hose location, water for firefighting, breaker relays, condenser, radiator batteries, boiler. Does not work with infinite electricity. Okay. Very relay goes crazy and get wheel spin, close some valves. Okay. All right, great. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll start looking at this. All right, so we'll start the walk around with the Toblerone. I love the name of it. Really cool detailing as usual with Benzin stuff. I'm really always at awe with the, how Ben's able to do all this detailing with these. Like you see, the just little tiny changes in coloration through there. Looks really nice in here. Really good. It's hard to, these are probably hand drawn. It's hard to do these letters well, even using some of the programs. You have to end up going back by hand. Nice rivet work on there. Nice little details here and there. Very cool. Water there. Nice detailing here on paneling. Really cool. I love these half doors. These are really nice there. And then this looks like, what is that? Battery and radiator access. That's cool. Nice to have these little opening panels. It adds some life to the build. I love these half doors, though. That's a really cool idea there. Do I have a handle or something? Yep, right there. And then try to get in there. There we go. All right, and so that's cool. I like that a lot. That's really neat to be able to. The half doors are really cool. All right, so let's go ahead and let's open up the firebox and put some coal back in there. So here is my light firebox. All right, and so let me trying to stand up here. I have an issue standing up. Let's see. Let's go through some of these here. All right, so controls, exterior lights, forward beam, red marker, beam radio, instrument lights, distress, cab light. All right, let's see. Forward ditch, right ditch. We don't need those. Those are lights. Boiler pressures. Whistle. We don't have any steam pressure. We're not going to get whistle. Frequency up and down. Okay. Okay, firebox is lit already. Okay, I was figuring it would start up eventually. I just wasn't seeing it. Here comes firebox temp, boiler temp, chamber pressure. We'll probably get in a minute here when that warms up. And we can close the firebox. Love the detailing in here. This looks very cool and realistic. I like that. That's cool. I like that. Alright, so how are we getting here? Boiler temp. Here comes pressure there, so wait on that. Nice little bits of detailing in here. I like the floor is cool. Heater back there. Mineral hopper there, so probably for extra coal. You have coal in you? You do. Alright, so just waiting on this. So we have brakes. Alright, so we're starting to get boiler pressure up. Let me see if it says. So I just want to double check, make sure that's chamber pressure. I'm just going through the dealio here again and kind of seeing all the guide, the guide. So yep, 7 is boiler pressure. It says boiler pressure. Okay, 11 is chamber pressure. I was wondering where chamber pressure is. So let me see if I can't find that on here. That's okay. Bottom right is chamber pressure right there. So I'm waiting on chamber pressure to build up. No, I think I need to open the valves to do chamber pressure. So this one here is it's nice. Benzin did a good job here on labeling things. As you see, I don't have to go back to the picture for some of these things like those. So let's go ahead and. So there goes chamber pressure. Okay, good. And we're moving. Very cool. So we can sit here and look next to the Toblerone. Makes me want a Toblerone, but this is very cool. I like this. Benzin does an excellent job on interiors and aesthetics, and a great job in the workshop. You know, as you can see, I was a little bit short with some of the builds. You know, if there's no detailing on there, it makes it hard for me to experience your build how you want it. And Benzin does a fantastic job of really kind of, you know, you don't have to create a narrative, but he does, and he creates a narrative and a story with the build, and you know, makes you really kind of understand and want to get in there and work with the build, and I like that a lot. And so, you know, especially after reading that, I really want to kind of get after it. And even though this is a little bit on the more, you know, there's a little bit more instruction on this and a little bit more complex, you know, I feel like I can, you know, I can get in there and actually operate this fine. You know, it makes sense to me adding 25 and 50, you know, if I want, you know, so there's, you know, even more speed there, and then I can go like this and get even more speed. So it's pretty intuitive after a while. Then I want to add some brake on there, and we can get stopped. So very intuitive. It's a lot of fun. It makes me want to operate this. You know, I still want to explore. Like, I saw this key as I was, you know, I saw the key, you know, I saw the picture too, but I saw the key as I was driving. I wanted to go out there and to open it, you know. Really excellent build here. Again, beautiful detailing on this. I really love the startup procedure. I love the valves. You know, especially it's tough with these, you know, this is supposed to be, what, 1920, I think 27 to 41, if I recall from the picture. You know, this has that feeling, that aesthetic that this is old. And so one of the ways that Benzin achieved this was by putting in the valve control was, you know, I kind of like, you know, some of these old builds, you know, I don't bother building myself because I'm like, well, how am I going to get, you know, it's got a modern throttle in there and I have to do electronics and, you know, I have to do an electric motor in there, and it just kind of miffs me that we don't have more manual parts. But as you can see, Benzin did a great job making this more manual. There are little hidden electric motors in there and things like these cranks. By using the flip switches, we're able to do that. Use keys. So even with what we have here, Benzin is able to come up with a really cool cockpit and make, you know, especially this is, this is definitely a different way to operate it, and I like that. That's very interesting to me. Kind of these pale yellow lights that kind of make you feel like you're in the time period. So again, beautiful job by Benzin. And a special thanks to Skelbton, Thundercats 810, Secret 176, Chungus, and Benzin for posting their builds. I enjoyed reviewing them, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.